Hi everybody, I'm Pia.
And I'm Seda.
And today is another episode of Gods and Goddesses. This time we're doing Egyptian.
Yep. So today we're going to talk about Anubis
And Nephthys.
Don't know.
Who is actually Anubis' mother.
Which is...
We didn't know that until we started researching.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go first, and I'm going to be talking about Nephthys. She's the goddess of death, service, lamentation, nighttime, and rivers. She is the daughter of Nut and Geb, wife to Set, and her siblings are Osiris and Isis and Set. She is commonly seen working alongside Isis as both, because both of them were the ones who put Osiris back together after her husband killed him out of jealousy. This act brought the funerary rites that are most commonly associated with Egypt. Her name means Lady of the Temple Enclosure. She is normally portrayed as a young woman with a house and a basket in her headdress. She is represented as the mirror image of Isis, Isis being light and her being dark. They're not considered opposites, just more like the same side, same coin, different sides. And they technically just balance each other out. She is known to be so helpful in the funerary rites. She's a welcomer of the dead into the underworld, and she also is known to carry messages and comfort the living relatives of those who passed. For that, she has been known as the friend of the dead. Her symbols are the hawk, temples, the sycamore tree, and she's associated with the setting sun, twilight, and darkness. She also, like, you know the canopic jars? She usually protects the lungs, and her offerings are mirrors, smooth stones, dark jewels, particularly garnet, books, and weapons.
Cool. Is that all you had for that?
Yeah, there was a lot of the information when I was looking it up kind of repeated itself.
Yeah.
Again, she is the mom of Anubis. It's unclear who his dad is. It's one of 3 people. You have that information.
Yep. Alright, so Anubis. Everybody knows who Anubis is. He is the oldest and most popular Egyptian deity in existence. Literally everybody knows who he is. Even people who aren't a part of the pantheon have known the name, have heard the name, and know what it's associated with.
Wasn't there a website called Anubis, Egyptian Gods for Kids?
Yep, there was a literal website that taught kids about Anubis, which is a little freaky. Like, I mean, I don't care that kids know about this, but if you know what he does and what he takes reign over, it's a little weird.
But good. Yeah, it's good.
I mean, at least kids are being informed.
Right?
So, he was most popularly known as the god of death, or the god of the underworld, specifically. He was, like, revered super highly because he was believed to hold a lot of power over like people's physical and spirit selves when they entered the afterlife. A lot of the information about him dates back to the Old Kingdom, and it goes from the Old Kingdom all the way to the Middle Kingdom. And when the Middle Kingdom came around, the position of the god of death was taken over by Osiris. And basically, Anubis became Osiris's assistant, more or less. So, Anubis was the Greek translation of his name. The Egyptians referred to him as Inpu or Anpu, and basically it was based off of the word imp, which meant to decay. So, super
savage.
Super easy to remember. Anyway, Anubis was seen as a man with a jackal head, or just a jackal. And jackals were typically like a brownish color, but he was seen as black because, of course, black and death go hand in hand. And it's actually found out that a jackal wasn't actually a jackal. There's pretty much no such thing as a jackal. What it actually was an old Egyptian golden wolf.
Ooh.
Very ancient wolf. I don't think it exists anymore.
So extinct. Nice.
I don't know. There wasn't
nice.
that much information about it. It said that there wasn't actually a thing called I mean, they were called jackals, but they weren't actually jackals. I don't know. It was weird. But the reason why he was associated with jackals is because jackals were very common in cemeteries. Like, that they would wait until a new body was buried, and then they would come in and dig up the body and eat it.
Fun.
Yeah. The ancient Egyptians decided to relate Anubis to jackals because of this. They were like, oh, it must be the god of death releasing his spirit into the afterlife.
So they didn't try to stop it?
No.
Nice.
They were like, oh, just eat the body and we'll put the remains back when you're done. Like,
I got you, fam.
A lot of historians believe they were trying to rationalize why this jackal was eating a dead body. Instead of scarring them for life, they were like, oh, Anubis is releasing his soul into the afterlife.
How did they die then? Their food, like, never got taken away from them. Okay, anyway, it's not time to discuss why an animal got extinct. Let's go.
I don't know if it's actually extinct. It's just a very, very ancient wolf. Okay. So, Anubis had a lot of jobs being the ruler of the underworld. A lot. He was he was the literal ruler of the underworld. He took care of most everything that had to do with the underworld. One of the biggest ones was being the guardian of the scales. Now, what he did was he weighed the heart of the human soul, which anybody who would die, he would weigh their heart with the weight of a feather. If the heart was heavier than the feather, then, well...
Oh boy, you done messed up!
I mean, the feather represents truth, so if the heart is heavier than the feather, then that person wasn't truthful. They were very sinful and horrible in their life. So the goddess Ammit, which was basically a demon, would come and eat you and eat your heart, basically. And if your heart was lighter than the feather, then Osiris would take you and help you ascend into your proper place in heaven. That was a lot. Anyway, and Anubis was also in control of embalming and mummification. Like, he was actually the inventor of this. Yes. A lot of people are like, he invented this. So, yep. No, he didn't actually do it, but people said he did it. He basically oversaw embalming and mummification. His assistant was his daughter Nebthet, who loved to help him embalm bodies, I guess. I don't know. But basically a lot of people...
bonding time.
Yeah, right? The ancient Egyptians said that Anubis would sniff the dead, so of course when they would embalm their dead, they would use like sweet-smelling herbs and plants. Anubis was also part of the opening of the mouth ritual, which I didn't actually read into the ritual, but basically they opened the mouth of the dead person so they could eat and speak when they entered the afterlife. So their corpse would be buried open. It was really weird.
Fun.
Let's see what else. Oh, and he was also the protector of tombs. He was actually a big centerpiece in the tomb of Tutankhamun, however you want to pronounce it. But basically he protected these tombs until Osiris came around and took over his jobs and said, I'm going to protect tombs now. Anyway, so his mom was Nephthys, or how you like to say it.
I like saying Nephthys.
Nephthys, whichever one.
Yeah.
It's kind of up in the air who his father is.
It's one of three people.
It's one of three people. It could either be Osiris. Let me say this again. His father could have been Osiris. There was a possibility. Could have been Set, which, by the story she described, disguised herself as Isis to try to bang Set to give her a son it was really complicated regardless. Or it could have been Ra, which nobody actually knows who Anubis's real father was. They just kind of speculated.
Yeah.
Anyway, his wife was Anput, however you want to say it. She had the body of a woman and the head of a jackal, much like Anubis. And their daughter was, of course, Khepeket, who was the goddess of purification, which is kind of adorable. Fun facts about Anubis.
Oh, fun.
Anubis was basically the patron of anesthesiology because he knew so much about the human anatomy. And when priests would embalm bodies, they would actually wear jackal masks to symbolize Anubis. They would basically act as Anubis and carry out his work.
Nice.
Right? Okay, so real quick, because it looks like my camera battery's gonna die. His offerings include jewelry, which, when you're thinking of Egyptians, you think of gold and jewelry, so more than likely he would accept gold over, like, silver, stuff like that. He likes a bunch of sweets, like chocolate, candy, cake, soda, whatever. A bunch of sweets.
Nice.
He likes pretty much any kind of food. Like, one of the people that I read said that she gave him potato salad one time. And
Same.
Right? He accepts things that make you happy. He accepts that as an offering. Incense, like cypress, myrrh, cedar wood, frankincense, and of course all of those actual things. You can use oils, you can use actual wood, it kind of just depends. White linen, because mummification. Dog imagery. Jackals, of course. And his symbols include black, dogs of any kind, linens, a fetish, which is basically taxidermy, the flail, the crook, which I wasn't sure exactly what that was, a scepter, and of course, jackals. Yay!
Yay!
We're all done! I was having a bit of a hard time. My brain is everywhere. Anyway, so that's all we have for you today. If you want us to do another Egyptian god or goddess, leave them down in the comments below. We will probably more than likely do it.
We're having a hard time deciding on who we were going to do this time.
Yeah, we had a really, really hard time doing that. So, if you like this video and want to see more like it in the future, please hit that like button. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because if you hit the notification bell, you get notified every time we upload a video. Not just sometimes, every time.
Magic.
Yep. And that's all we have for you today. So, I hope you have a wonderful night/day and many blessings to all of you.